When we talk about integration, we often focus on language, education, and effort. What if the real gatekeepers are something far less visible?
Let's go.
Today's guest moved to Finland believing that hard work and competence would open doors. Instead, she discovered that many of those doors had already closed quietly years earlier during student life she was never part of. This episode is about invisible networks, timing, and what happens when motherhood collides with a system built for those who were already inside. This is the Quiet Land podcast, and today I'm speaking with Regina, who first moved to Finland from Estonia as a teenager. She speaks 6 languages and is now a mother of 2 young children in the Quiet Land. Just to orient our listeners, Regina, you moved to Finland from Estonia, and you have 2 children who are under school age, right?
Yes.
And so when you arrived in Finland, you were already trained. You've done your bachelor's and master's already? Is that right?
No. So first of all, thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah.
What a pleasure to be the first. Yahoo!
Yay!
So I arrived to Finland right after high school, or actually while I was finishing my high school.
Yes.
And then I realized that there wasn't anything for me here because I was trained in an international school.
Yes.
And I came speaking 6 languages. And although we had Finnish heritage, Finnish language was not one of them. And so when I came, my parents were both working because that's what Estonians and the rest of Europeans would do. They would come to Finland as laborers. And we came here because of Finnish heritage. And then my parents were in work life. So I came and I worked right away. I did summer jobs and I worked in restaurants and whatnot. But I was not able to get into education in English because there weren't, for instance, bachelor programs in English.
Right.
Or if there were, there was maybe one at Helsinki University, and the demand was so big that it was hard to get in.
Yes.
So I did get in, but I was on the waiting list. And so then I decided to go to the UK, and my sisters went to the States.
Right.
And so when I came back, I did have a bachelor's degree.
Yes. So you originally came to Finland with your parents, together with your parents, but then because of the studies, you went away and then you came back. Right. Good. So we will come back to this part when you've done your studies outside of Finland and then when you came back. Now, if you go into our first question, there's been quite a bit of discussion lately about how Finland looks quite merit-based on paper, meaning that the system is supposed to reward competence and hard work. But people's experiences don't always match that. So I want to start from the moment you moved to Finland. What did you assume would matter most for building a career here?
I assumed because I had come from international baccalaureate diploma program,
Yeah.
And I was sort of coming from Estonia, which was then quite new in its independence again. So whenever someone came and they were international, they were seen as like an added bonus to the society or seen as valuable because there were not that many internationals. So I was therefore an international coming to Finland and using the lens of what I had seen in Estonia and how internationals were treated as expats. They were treated in like a very positive way. People wanted to associate with them. They would get the good jobs and because what they brought was an international experience. But when I came, obviously, I was outside the educational circles because I had graduated. And then although I did work, I worked in blue-collar sector and sort of filling in the jobs that you would call them 3D, like dangerous, dirty, and degrading.
Yes.
But they use languages.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would work in service jobs. And so I was not a part of the actual society. I was a part of sort of outside, the outskirts of society.
Yes. How did that feel, being on the outskirts?
Well, it felt being on the outskirts. You felt like an outsider. And then I also realized that although like it's great to speak 6 languages, but in order to get into conversations and small talks and opportunities, you really do need the language.
Yes.
Because it's not that people like intentionally leave you out. It's just they don't think about it.
Yeah.
They feel more comfortable to speak and share information, which could be an opportunity, they just feel more comfortable to do it in their own circles because they are in their host society. So they don't think about what you might need.
Yes.
Because they're busy with their lives. So.
And that all happened in Finland?
Yes.
All in Finland. And you were feeling that you were in the outskirts. When did you realize that you were in the outskirts? Was it just suddenly you felt like, hey, I sort of am here, but I don't belong here?
Yes. So, yeah, I was mainly working, and there was a lot of internationals working with me and Finnish people as well, but I felt that my relationships were really going deeper. Like I was very close with lots of internationals, but it was difficult to create lasting relationships because it just took time. And also, well, obviously I couldn't get into the university programs I wanted to because the demand was so big. And the other programs were in Finnish and my language skills were not strong enough.
Yes.
So then I felt like I didn't have opportunity. But funnily enough, when I went to the UK and after this I have traveled around and also lived in, for instance, Asia, it was the same everywhere. So it wasn't
the
only
experience
Finland. It's when you're an outsider, you are an outsider and you have to build an ecosystem around you. And it's different from where you come from. And so I realized that it's not only about Finland, it's simply the fact that it takes more time and effort wherever you are as an outsider.
Yes.
No one rolls out a red carpet for you like, Regina, you have arrived. We have always expected all these skills you have, because my skills, they might not actually fit the society the way they are.
Yeah.
So they need to be catered or sort of tweaked in order to fit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you have to work quite a bit to get into that. Yes. Now you talked about how your feelings, your, kind of like feeling of being the outskirt there. How did that also, your experience, affect the opportunities? Can you describe the moment you realized of something else, like it's not your skills or effort that was shaping access to opportunities? And when did you realize that?
I think I realized that when I came back to Finland after having traveled and lived abroad, I realized that for a while I was living in this expectation that someone will notice my needs and they will fix it for me, or sort of like, I've come, so therefore they should. But then I realized that I need to really work hard, and I did. And then the more persistent I was and the more I created, and in Finnish we say raivaa, so like when there's snow and you actually make way in the snow, then it stays there. The pathway is just as it is outside. So at some point I had to make the way, and then the opportunities came along the way. Because it's very, if you think of like, for instance, logistics or trains or whatnot, it's very difficult to push a train that's standing.
No. Yep.
Or a car, or like a bicycle might be easier, but it's easier to take someone aboard when the train is moving. And it's the same, what you notice in society, or I notice, is that when someone is doing something, like yourself, for instance, you're doing this podcast, it's easier to join you in it.
Yes.
Than to start something from scratch or take someone on who's moving and they don't know what they want to do in life.
True. Yeah.
So I felt like opportunities came to me when I actually decided that, okay, I'm going to go for something, and I worked for it.
Was there... did that come naturally to you? Like, kind of like, hey, I if I want something, I need to do something about it. Or did you face rejection, for example, and that made you realize? Was there a certain something that happened actually?
A lot of rejection, and then at first I was like, it's all about me. They don't like me. It's this and it's them. But then I realized, it's always going to be someone or something. But do I want to live in this sort of victim, everything happens to me mentality, or do I want to live?
Yeah.
And, I want life. I want to be happy. I want to be rooted in wherever I am, and I want to succeed. I don't want to live a pitiful life where I'm just always looking at what is done to me.
Yeah.
I want to be powerful, and I can use that, and whatever it is, just get up, shake it off, get up.
Yeah.
If this doesn't work, just change the tide or change direction. No is a no, but maybe that wasn't a place for me. Then I'll make it a yes in another place. So I had this realization that if I want to succeed, no one will do it for me. Maybe lots of rejection, but at some point I also realized that some places I don't even want to be where I'm rejected. Maybe it's a good thing that some doors don't open because I might not be happy there.
That's very powerful. Also, understanding what you want and what you need, because that's not always clear. I find that sometimes people are not quite sure where they want their path to take them. But you clearly had you sound like you knew where you wanted to get to. Yeah.
I wanted to have a salary and I wanted to travel. But then I also always wanted to have a place where I feel that I add value.
Yes.
So I have worked in places where I really did not have a voice. And I felt that I was getting smaller or like I was losing myself. And I looked around and I'm like, the people I work with, do I want to be them in 5 years? And I didn't.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
I was in a point of burnout. And then I was like, okay, I need to change something. So I went to pursue more education and I changed gear.
Yeah.
And I feel now like the world's not perfect, but the truth is it's not perfect anywhere.
No.
It's what we make of it. Like our world is a little bubble for each person. The world here is where I'm sitting is different from you, although we might speak the same language, eat the same food, be in the same place, but it's always a subjective experience. But the frameworks are important. So frameworks, like frameworks of a society, do we have equality? Do we have equal opportunities and things? Those are important. And they are in many ways universal to a society.
Yes.
So like we were talking about education, do all children have the right to education? Is it equally distributed? Or is it that it's based on merit or financial status?
Yeah.
And things like that. So I chose Finland because a lot of things line up to my values and opportunities. They line up. But then how it's perceived or how I deal with it on a daily basis or how happy I am, very often it's not even dependent on that. It's more dependent on whether I have a happy marriage, whether my parents are healthy, whether I'm healthy and I work out, or do I have a healthy mindset, or is it that you're going through something like mental health-wise? A lot of that actually affects the way I perceive world more than the frameworks because they're bigger. You don't see them in everyday.
No, but there are, the frameworks that affect your thinking and how you're feeling about everything. If we go into, something really interesting, I think what we talked about when we first got into talking about this, getting to know each other, was about hidden networks and how those are hard to find. The word hidden already tells you, right? So I've been talking to several immigrants, also immigrant background mothers, saying that these are networks that are often built already during the student years. And later, it's really surprisingly difficult to get into. How did you come to understand how these professional networks in Finland are really formed and where? This seems to be like an invisible barriers, would you say?
I think I've needed them in my life. So I've always been a connector of people. I see the value in relationships and I enjoy just hanging with people, learning their stories and whatnot. But connecting, I'm a lateral thinker. So there's always a network that I see. And that's why maybe even in my title, it's networks is mentioned.
Yes.
But at some point I realized that information, it's sort of like knowledge, it's not the info itself, but it's how you use it. But the know-how of how to use it.
Yes.
It comes with understanding of how the society works. And the understanding comes with knowing people and knowing maybe the vibe of things. So when you're in university, you know how certain things go in that university or other university. And then you also understand how, for instance, opportunities are created for certain fields. Like I was in Valtsika, so social sciences, and you realize like what values they hold, and others hold other values. And
before Regina explains this, I want you to listen carefully, because what she's about to describe isn't written anywhere. It's not part of any official integration program. It's how opportunity actually moves.
And it's interesting how the relationship we build early on, we actually rely on them quite a lot. I have relationships here that have lasted more than 20 years. Or like, so that's even before I moved to Finland, but 16 years, 17 years. And some of these people I have roomed with, or they have lived in the same HOAS building with me. We have been tutors together at some of the international programs or whatnot. And now we are in work life together. Some of them actually work in the same sector that I do, but we're from different programs.
Yeah.
And without knowing it, we are helping each other by sharing information.
Yes.
Or some people I've met on some trips or something, and then you just naturally gravitate towards them.
Yeah, just click with them.
Yeah. And with time, for instance, there's a position in their company and you directly ask them, hey, what about this position? Who's the boss there? You know, what's the culture like?
Yeah.
What do they value in this company? A lot of that is actually inside information.
Yes.
And you wouldn't know that if you're an outsider. And also giving references, getting references, people trusting you, that comes by people knowing you. And knowing someone takes time. Like, do you know them because you met at a party, or do you know them in like a professional capacity? Those are different things. But very often, if you've known them from the party or you were on a train together, the relationship continues and you see them also in their professional capability.
Yes.
And so you vouch for them more easily than you would for someone that you just met yesterday on the metro or something.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. So would you say that you really need to be inside of those networks?
They're of value to you. Just to like see how the world works. So it's not to say that that's the only way Finland works. I think it's like that everywhere. Like, for instance, especially smaller nations, but where I think it's connected to the way, this is my words, obviously, but it's connected very much to the way the society here works, is that you receive opportunities by being in the labor market.
Yes.
But you need to be in the labor market to receive the opportunities. So it's sort of, what is the chicken and hen question? Which one comes first, right?
Yes.
So it's very rare that I see that companies hire someone just randomly. Either it's a position that's very mechanical, so they're hiring a machinery piece for their team. They don't need them to know how this machinery functions in a bigger picture.
Yeah.
They hire someone to do a specific coding thing, and they need it really bad because they hired this unicorn person. Or they hire a very junior person that they're willing to build up and then sort of integrate into the team. Or they want to reshuffle the team. But otherwise, companies hire people that understand what the service does in a bigger picture, how it fits the team, how it fits the society. Because Finnish companies are selling their services to other Finnish companies. And very often it's very important for them to have their colleagues understand how it fits the bigger picture. So with all this in mind, if we're only staying in expat communities, then we only get expat opportunities. So it's great. It's easy to be in international circles. I enjoy it. It's lively. Food is great. There's usually music playing.
Yeah.
So... And people are just, flexible. But at some point, their networks run dry or they come to an end if they want to go further.
There's a limitation what that network can do for you in Finland. And especially if you want to build a career here also, you'll need to get to the other networks then.
And if they're not employed, let's say, that's another one. So you get great stories, you vent, you share.
Yeah.
You get lots of peer support. Your children play together. But in the end, you don't actually build each other's professional network.
Yeah.
And I think we need both of them. We need a professional network. And we also need people who we sort of identify with values-wise and we feel comfortable. But what often happens is that international ladies especially are sort of pushed into these circles of only migrant women or only migrant families. And they end up being there with the children and they don't have the same opportunity to actually build their network. Because Finnish women, most of the time, or European women here, they are working. So they're both career and family oriented.
Yes.
And they don't usually have that many children. So that's another thing. Maybe they pass that ruuhkavuodet or like early childhood years faster.
Yeah.
So the women are not stuck in this sphere of only motherhood, because motherhood is like the greatest calling, is the greatest gift. But if I would only stay at home, I would be very blessed, but I would also be very limited career-wise.
You would miss those networks or networking opportunities that you would need to in order to get into the different job opportunities.
Yeah.
So if I can recap on that, so you'll need to be working, and through those working, knowing those people, you'll get to know the network, so to say, or start building your networks there. Right.
Let's go.
What about it was really interesting. I remember when we were chatting about how, if I go back a little bit, a couple of steps, from the, your student times, and remember how you describe about this, in the student life, how there's these student parties, or there's this, you're going to your Tallinn trips or your sit in Finland. So if you miss that, what choices do you have? Or does it matter? In your opinion?
I think it matters on the person more, because one size does not fit all. So there isn't a formula. You could participate everywhere.
Yeah.
But if you don't actually invest and build and hang out, then it might be of little value to you. But as an outsider, it took me a while to realize this, but there's a lot of value in understanding the culture and learning the history and like participating in cultural events, because Finland is a very much a culture that values social events. Like Independence Days, there's a ritual, you watch the parade and whatnot. There's also the Swedish community in Finland, they're very much about the culture. They have the poems and things. And if you don't know anything about it, then in a way you miss out on all these runeberry-torttu. And like they're little things, but they actually add a lot to you. And so there's a lot of fun happening around the events that are culture-based. And same way in university, a lot of things happens around sit and other things, and corona or whatever them, or koronka, I'm now mixing words. But I think they add value to you because, first of all, you are part of a niche society group. You can celebrate Vappu with the rest with the hat. And then it also gives and builds trust around your person because you are a part of the inside circle.
True. Yes.
Yeah. For me, it has added value. And most of the internationals that I know, it has added value to them. And also because, for instance, if you're going for a PhD or educational, like a career, then it's good to be in those circles because you actually build career opportunities for yourself. You will be invited to alumni events. A lot of the alumni from my field, they work in the government.
Yes.
They work where I want to work.
Yeah.
And they are heads of companies. They're in places. So in a way, you build trust for yourself. So yes, to participate in as much as you can.
So you need to be intentional about it.
Yes.
Really intentional, interested.
But don't hang only with the Erasmus students. Because they're going to leave.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, back to the point that you had earlier, that don't just hang out, for example, just with the expat community, because then your network will only be that, but widen your horizons there and tap into the other networks also. Yeah, depending on, of course, whatever your goals are for yourself and what you want to reach.
And interestingly enough, based on experience and tracking back, most of the Finnish-speaking students or Swedish-speaking students were employed already during their senior year, meaning that your classmates are also your network.
Yes.
They are employed, which means they are bridges to those companies for other international students. They can vouch for you. They can invite you over to a business visit. You can have coffee at their office. You know, information and networks already in your own class. But if we only hang with the other internationals, then we actually limit ourselves.
Yes. I suppose some great advice and great insights. Thank you for those. Now, I also want to bring the motherhood side to the conversation. So, a mother of two. We often hear about the motherhood penalty in pay or career progression, but less about how it affects visibility and networks. For you personally, how did becoming a mother change or intensify this experience of being outside of those networks?
Mm-hmm. I think I put in a lot of time before. Like I did a lot of extra things. A lot of my work and career opportunities have come from my voluntary work.
Yeah.
And that has then built an opportunity. And so when I became a mother, I simply didn't have that much time.
Yes.
So then I wouldn't do like evening things and weekend things as much anymore. And I became more intentional in how I use my time. In a way, it took away from the opportunities. And for instance, I don't do international trips as much as I used to, which is sad because I love traveling. But at the same time, it would be at the expense of my family. And I would not want that. Because in the end, traveling with family is just as great.
Yes.
So, but what I do see is that I've become a greater project manager now, like logistics.
Yes.
So, and also where before I feel that when I was without a child, I felt like maybe I would take on extra work more easily. I would say yes to many more things.
Yeah.
Where now I consider and I value my work time more.
Yeah.
And actually the way I am treated is also better because I know my value more.
Yes.
So I get less of like assistant work where I'm a full-time professional. Maybe before I did not know how to say no to things as well as I do now.
So you're like better in putting your boundaries there.
Yes. Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
Do you think, you definitely had to make some choices, like you said, like, okay, less traveling, although you love that, some choices there. Were there any moments you felt that you couldn't show up anymore? Or is it a matter about organizational skills, time management?
I think it's time management. I have been missing work more than before. So when the cold season comes, it comes, And when we have to, and like in daycare and things like that, it's, yes. And so I'm very grateful to have a wonderful husband who we are full-time, 100% parents. So in that sense, I think if I was doing this alone, or maybe my family would have been more traditional where it would all be on me, then it would not work. I would be very overburdened and I would suffer at work. But right now, I do my best to manage my time well.
Yes.
My team is very understanding as well. Many of them have children also. I have the youngest one, so I still have the daycare situation. But I am effective in my work. I keep my word. And if anything happens, I have to invest in babysitting. So then we make it work. Yeah. Because my word is sort of my faith, so to say. But it's the same for my husband. But we are a team. So we do our best to manage. And then if we can't, then we pay for babysitting. Because we don't have family here at all.
Sounds like you have all sorted out. Like, because you don't have family here.
I mean, I have my parents, but they're also in work life.
Yes.
So just like any other migrant with, in a sense, no grandparents to pitch in. And even if they did, it's not like they live in the same city.
No.
So if a child is sick in the morning, then they're sick in the morning. So then you make arrangements.
Yeah, you'll have to sort out that all by yourself. But great to hear you have a, partner who's 100% in that, parenting with you there. That's great. Yeah. Have you felt that you missed out on anything then?
Well, the traveling.
Apart from
every
the travel.
winter, I'm like, why? Yeah. But I feel like sometimes obviously now I'm managing quite big programs on my own that I've built and also have now carried for years. Sometimes I wish I could take on more ad hoc things and do like more evening things, maybe startup related or something that is more, upbeat and Like you react to it more than plan. But at the same time, I don't feel that I've missed out that much, because coming back to work from my first maternity leave, I was so antsy. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm missing all this time. And then I returned and nothing had changed. Like everything changed, but nothing really changed, you know. Work is still there. It might be different when you're an entrepreneur and you work for yourself.
Yes.
It's your own company. But if you work for another company, yes, it may be that your projects are given away, therefore opportunity goes.
Yes.
Because in Finland, opportunities come with the projects you're given. But I've never really had to turn down any projects. I take on more. So I think it's about managing my time well and effectively. And I have the Estonian mindset. So do. So
yeah. So not really this FOMO, like fear of missing out.
No.
Or anything.
Well, when I'm like when I've been on maternity leaves, then I have this fear that I'm missing out. But at the same time, I also realize that I'm doing the most important job I could in life, because everything goes in sort of waves and trends, and then you just come back to it.
Yeah, it's putting things into perspective and understanding that, you know, even if you're not getting into something right now, you can always go back then when you have that time, you know.
I think it really depends on the company you work for and the team.
True. Yeah.
So my team and my boss, they have never made me feel that I'm not doing my part. But it's also probably because I am working hard and doing my part.
Yes.
That I am trustworthy. I think it's a personal, moral, like work ethic thing.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm rewarded. I just got a little bonus again for hard work.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey.
So like, I think good work speaks for itself. And then you are also promoted and given opportunities.
Yeah.
But I understand that for many people, they can't get in to show their good work. So that's the problem.
That's the problem there.
Yeah.
Maybe that relates to my next question also, that I see an awful lot of advice aimed at individuals saying that, hey, you need to network more, you need to be proactive, do this and do that, and people will see you. But there's a lot less discussion about what actually the system or the employers should change. So if you could change one thing in how working life or integration works in Finland, what would it be, so that others don't face the same invisible barriers?
It's a really big question. I don't think changing one thing would change. It's not like we're cooking and you add just some salt. So it's such a big like question, because it's not only that the employers are not hiring. So my main work is also helping Finnish employers grow their capability to hire.
Yes.
And we know it's not that they don't want to hire. It's such a melting pot, the economy, the fear of what's going to happen with all the war situations now. And then it depends on what company you're running. Are you selling a service that is aimed at specific sectors, or are you selling something that is, for instance, aimed at Russia and you can't sell anymore? Or are you selling a service where you are selling, for instance, HR skilled professionals and no one wants to hire them at the moment because they don't need them? Or the labor market, it's in fluctuations. It's not a static thing. So the same way with people, just being at the right place at the right time when you are needed can make a huge difference. So I don't really know if I have anything to say, but
is there one thing that maybe has bothered you in the past, and you are thinking that, hey, this could be potentially easily fixed? I mean, you're absolutely right. Like, very difficult to fix everything at one go, because there's so many things that affects everything. But if there's one thing, do you see anything that's maybe something that's currently left to the individuals themselves to figure out, but shouldn't be maybe something that employers or the system we are working in could easily?
So maybe instead of the individual, I would focus on the company, because we blame the companies. We say that they don't hire, it's them.
Yeah.
But they are us. It could be you, it could be me.
Yeah.
And so maybe the focus should be shifted. And it's not that they don't want to hire, it's that they can't. They're incapable. So how do we fix the capability question? How do we empower them to hire and to desire to hire these people?
Yeah.
So
what do you mean by being incapable of hiring?
So if I'm the boss of my company, I don't hire a person because they're international.
No.
I hire them because they're capable. They add to my team. They bring growth, because my role as an employer is to ensure the salaries of my other workers and ensure the production of whatever I'm doing, right? It's like 90% survival.
Yeah.
So for them to sort of move out of the Maslow pyramid of survival and be able to think further, we need to first fill the basic needs. So what is the need? And it's not pouring money at them. That doesn't fix it. It's growing the capability. Maybe that's why I'm working on this myself. But I don't want to be hired because I'm international. I want to be hired because my potential is seen. So how do we fix the lens so the employer is capable of seeing the potential? So there's a lens between. It's not one that they're not good enough, the internationals, or the employer, they just don't want to. It's not that. There's a like a chasm between them. So how do we cover it?
Yeah. So do you mean that they almost like employers see internationals through certain lenses? Like, oh, she or he is an international, not Finnish national, not a Finn, and it changes somehow the whole recruitment then?
I think that they look at what benefits my company. What would fit with the team that I have. And then when they go through the CVs and things, or they're looking for a hire, they're looking for someone to match this position here.
Yeah.
But because the internationals come in a different packaging often, or they might not have the right format, so to say, they don't fit this little box we have. So how do we help them see each other? Because the potential is within the box. And actually that potential would build the company, strengthen the company. There's clearly a demand for more workers, more potential, more growth. And then there's clearly an offering of all of that. But it's like they miss each other. It's one of these Asian dramas. One went that way, the other one. Sorry.
I can almost see it in my eyes.
In the same place, one of them is looking that way, So it's one of these. So how do we get them to see each other? And I don't think it's a one-person job. It's like, it's a long-term process of changing mentality. But at the moment, we are in a huge, huge crisis. The unemployment numbers, they're huge everywhere. But Finland is in a very difficult position, especially because of the way our society is. We're very literary, and everything needs a license. In a way, it's because we want everything to be ethical. We don't want people to be cheap labor.
No.
So we do things ethically. That means the employers have to pay more. Therefore, they're very careful at whom they hire, because they cannot just fire them or use them. Where in other nations, if we look at nations that have grown exponentially, they use cheaper labor.
Yes.
Maybe the conditions are not very good. Yeah. So if you want to do things ethically and you want to do it well, it is a long process. And Finland usually does things ethically and well. So it's pitkäjänteinen. They think about things very long. And it's a bigger process to uproot what is already built and sort of rebuild it in a new way. But we are moving towards a better direction. It's just at the moment it's a huge slump. But usually these conflicts or slumps, they move us somewhere. So let's see what comes of this. I'm sure something good will eventually sprout.
Well, let's hope so, definitely. I mean, that's definitely something that the individuals we can do, and also we do recognize, or it sounds like you also recognize that, yes, employers need to do more there, but we should be also understanding. Would that be the word, maybe? Understanding, or like to employer's side or both sides, like you were describing this, like almost like these sliding doors they see and then they don't see each other. The how to make their roads cross the same.
I don't think there's a clear answer to this. Even in my own, like I hear you saying this and I'm like, would I say just be understanding of the employers? You're not hired, just be understanding. No, like I would need a job. Of course I wouldn't be understanding. And I'd be angry for not being hired, and I hate being unemployed. I have been there myself. So it's such a lannistava, like it makes you feel like nothing. You feel so inferior and it really defeats you.
That's a very common feeling, from the discussions I've had with other mothers, other professionals, immigrant or non-immigrants. A lot of them.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel that women maybe are more prone to like, oh, I just can't get a job anyway. And then they end up getting pregnant again. Or maybe it's a choice, and then we go on a perpetual cycle. And actually, we love what we do, but at the same time, we feel that we're being left out, or somehow like, I tried it, I didn't get there. And it would be great to empower women even more, or like give opportunities. There is often, when we talk about migrant women, there is a fear of rejection, obviously. Also, because of Finland has a highly educated women.
Yes.
Actually, the percentage of women, they're even more educated than men. They're more in work life than men. And girls as well in school and university, they do better than boys. So there is this like maybe a difference in culture. So it's not so easy to build relationships when you are not in work life yourself, or you're not going for these coffee times and lunch times and with your girlfriends and things, and you're at home with the children. So it's harder to build relationships actually as a migrant woman. Unless you're yourself somehow either volunteering or in some sort of a professional circle. So I would encourage, if I could, international women to look for places where they are not in a position of receiving help, but they're part of the group. Either they're volunteering together, they're part of a church, or I don't know if mosques would do this, but any like whatever group that has international
volunteering somewhere, for example,
yoga class or something where you are on par. You are not in a position of receiving,
just receiving help or so, but you're actually giving, perhaps. This is probably circling back to the, a couple of questions ago when we were talking about the networks and how, try to find yourself outside of the usual network that you are. Yeah, getting that. Great. Now we are, actually I told you we have 5 questions, and I think we probably got the 5 questions, but I have a 6th question for you here. So this is my closing question. This is a question and I will be asking all of my guests here. I'd like to ask you, like, when you look back, what's the one belief about motherhood or work that you have quietly let go of over the years? Or maybe not quietly. Maybe you just, figured out that, hey, this isn't working, and you just crashed it.
That I had to do it all. Yeah. Because I come from a culture, like in Estonia, mothers are usually... There was an article in one of the Finnish papers where it said that Finnish women, they wanted, Estonian women, they want it all. They want the dog, they want the car, but they also want the PhD and a job, but they also want children. And it's true, we want it all.
Want it all.
The house with the garden, but that means you have to water it, you have to plant and work on it. And I grew up in a family where women were very strong and they did everything. And so I am also very capable, but then allowing my husband to take a role. And actually, paternity leaves have been very great at supporting that. Because then I need to let go and trust that this person here also loves their child 100%.
Has it been difficult to let go?
The first one was. I was just like, can you? But he's always been very hands-on, and very like trustworthy and everything. But then even more that I don't feel guilty about. So in our house, for instance, my husband does the cleaning. He wakes up in the morning, he cooks for us, and it's great.
Perfect.
And I realize it's not the thing for everyone. And very many women subconsciously judge other women. They give the look, are you doing it all? Is your husband wiping the nose?
Where are you? What are you doing?
Whereas, or like, I think it was just letting go and trusting that it doesn't mean that I'm a bad mother.
No.
That I let go, or that I also do professional things.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. It's actually, first of all, I appreciate you sharing that with me, because that was just what I discussed this morning. Like as I was giving like an example to somebody, like, something let go, like quite often we see in magazines, like, can women have it all? And my question, I would throw a question back to that and say, like, why do we have to have it all? Who started that? Was it a man who started that women should have it all? But yeah, there's a lot of pressure to that, and I think I think it's a good advice what you're giving there, saying that it's okay to let go. Yeah, okay to have some help there, even though you're very capable of yourself. Yeah. But it also, I like to see that you're also giving more energy to something else also that's important to you. Yeah, when you're sharing that load, the motherhood load there.
And I think you're happier.
Yeah.
Because the other thing is that, like, motherhood, I've asked people who are a bit older, and I'm like, so how was it with your, I don't know, second or first? And they're like, you know what, I don't remember, because I was tired the whole, 15 years.
Yes.
And that's not me. I don't want to be there. I want to be happy. Like, life is short. Also, I want to enjoy my children, not just sort of manage them.
Yeah, not just have a task that I have to, do now.
They are not an accident. It's not like it happened to me. It was intentional. They're a gift, as is my marriage and my husband and my home. And all these things, they take a lot of work. Cleaning, for instance. Oh. But so actually sharing it empowers both, because we all need a role. We don't just want to be freeloaders in whatever, whether it's society or it's a family. We all need to feel a valuable part of this unit.
Absolutely. That's a beautiful ending to our podcast. Yeah. Regina, thank you so much for joining me this morning. It's been a pleasure having you. Absolutely loved having this conversation with you. So thank you again. Regina's story challenges the idea that careers move forward purely through competence. If equal opportunity depends on being inside the circle, then who is responsible for widening it? In the next episode of The Quiet Land, we meet Camilla, originally from Uzbekistan, who moved to Finland in 2014 with a master's degree in corporate communication and a corporate career already behind her in Denmark. Her story is about what it takes to rebuild professional identity while starting a family, and what happens when the quiet land questions who you really are. See you next week.